Hello, Jennifer.
Oh, let me put my phone down. Hi, Phil.
Did you have a nice week without me?
It feels like Friday already. But yes, actually, the week went so fast. But did you have a good time in Puerto Rico?
I had a very good time. We had this whole beach to ourselves. We had a very nice Airbnb. We're in this town called Luquillo on the northern coast on the east side of the island. And I came back tan-ish because I don't tan. But came back relaxed and happy, and it was very good. So it's good for me. It's good for Allison. It was good for both of us. So I'm very, very happy. So
great.
Yeah. So I came home to the same crazy market that I left, but there's rumblings and kind of reality. This isn't going to last forever. So how will this change? And are sellers really that greedy?
Well,
are they greedy?
But greedy's like a really harsh word. I mean, if there is business is business. If there is an opportunity, to make money, you can't fault somebody for wanting to do the best that they can with an investment, that they've made. I've seen plenty of sellers take less money for a family that they've liked and so on and so forth. So, I think it's a little harsh to be calling sellers greedy in this market. And I've heard it more than from one person.
We've heard it from a lot of people. What do you say when it's easy to say, oh, the sellers are greedy because the prices have gone up. But what do you say when someone has a baby, gets a promotion, needs to sell, they put it on the market, they hire the best agent they think they should have because it's the largest financial transaction in most people's lives. It's not their fault 40 people came the first weekend. It's not their fault 15 people submitted an offer. They should take the best offer, shouldn't
they? And honestly, 90-something% of sellers are still, probably more than 90-something, probably like 98% of sellers still have to buy. And so the amount of money that they get on the property that they're selling impacts the rest of their life. And as you know, buyers who are calling the sellers greedy, $10,000 can make or break a $10,000. And even if you say, oh, well, a mortgage and this and that. Well, first of all, the amount of money that you have to put down directly impacts the ultimate price point of the house you can afford. And sometimes $10,000 one way or another, it makes or breaks everything, as you know. And or now the seller is going to go into a price range that they end up having to compromise in order to buy, and they need the cash on hand to make the upgrades or the things that they need to do to the property. So that money is just as important to a seller. So having expectations that a seller should, like, that the sellers are responsible for all that's going on right now is just ludicrous. They're taking what they feel is their fair share of what's going on.
The sellers are basically the ones who are they're one side of the transaction. They did not create the market, nor did the agents. The agents did not. We did. If I could wave my scepter and have all of my listings sell for $50,000 over asking all the time, my entire career, I would do that. But I do not possess that power. I don't possess that sorcery that I wish I did. Speaking of greed, you may have heard of the famous economist Milton Friedman. Okay. Now, he's passed on. Very big champion of capitalism. And he often addressed the notion of greed. And he would probably say something along the lines of, when the market switched to the buyer's favor, how often did we see buyers with a straight face come in and offer $100,000 under asking because they knew they could,
Mhm.
right? How many times did you and I have a listing in 2008, 9, 10, where buyers would come in and just, we want a new oil tank. We want you to replace the roof. And here's $50,000 less than asking price. And if you counter us, we'll walk away because we have so many other options. We saw that. So human beings are going to get the best terms they can get. And let's face it, unless you're really young, it's not your money. It's not your money. Whatever money I have belongs to my kids. Whatever money you have belongs to your kids. Let's face it, right? This is not whatever we do so that there'll be economic traction for our children and for our grandchildren. We're not looking to buy a Learjet, okay? We're not looking to have some sort of opulent lifestyle, all right? And, it's not just about us. So if you're a seller, this is, to a large degree, tuition. It is retirement. It is what you're going to parlay into your next housing, and same environment for those sellers as buyers, right? So I think it's unfair to call self-interest and smart business sense just reducing it to greed. I don't think that's fair.
Not fair. It's not fair whatsoever. So let me ask you this, because I know we both are pretty strong believers that it's going to remain a seller's market through the year.
Yeah.
It'll still be double-digit growth, but perhaps not 18% type numbers. What changes do you think will happen to the pace of the market and what we've been seeing that sellers will need to adjust to quickly?
Okay. It's gonna remain a seller's market for the foreseeable future, from what I can see. I think it will soften a bit because we're going to see more motivated inventory when the moratoriums on foreclosures and evictions ends. So there'll be more inventory, but that'll be absorbed by the gross mismatch of supply and demand. There's still plenty of demand, and that stuff will go quickly. I think we'll see less cartoonish stuff.
Well, for example, spoke to an agent today, listed 5 properties last week, and I still have 4 left. Like it was,
yeah.
Literally, I was like,
you expected to sell half a dozen properties.
But that's what's been happening. Like it literally was like, what should I say to my sellers?
So we had a great.
The house has only been on the market 1 weekend,
and it hasn't sold. It's a stale listing. So we had one of our agents in our brand, our brand here, contacted me today about a property that a buyer who had not seen the property asked about because it had been on the market 30 something days and still hadn't sold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, we have had an absorption rate of less than a month. I mean, even in Putnam County, the Putnam County absorption rate has always been above 10. It's never, I don't even know that it's ever been below 8 since I can remember. 1 month.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. As soon as we put it on, it goes. But I think people will stop waiving inspections. I think they'll start, using the inspections again. Waiving mortgages, overbidding. I think that's all going to kind of go away.
But that translates to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or Mr. and Mrs. Seller, whatever it is, you need to shift. You need to understand that getting the highest and best in the least amount of time does not equate the highest listing price. So yeah, now, in the past 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, 13 months, yeah, it's been the kind of market where you can put something on high and hey, you never know. But it's that kind of market is going to start to slowly disappear. If it hasn't already.
But it'll still be a seller's market.
It'll still be a seller's market. You're still going to get so much more for your house than you would have pre-pandemic. And the numbers, probably 2 or 3 months into when the market reopened up will be more to the reality of 6 months after because it was like, got crazy, and now it's going to go back in that direction, how it was in the first 3 months, I would say. Right.
I think the last 6 months has been the really exaggerated market.
Like
after the holidays.
37 offers on a property.
Yeah. We will be talking about this 20 years from now. So it can't last. And the public needs to understand, especially sellers, that it can't last. But what did we just say? The sellers are probably going to buy something because if you're living indoors, you're probably going to want to continue to live indoors, right? You're not going to buy an RV
unless COVID doesn't go away, then I might move out
a bridge. So that's good for the seller, even if they didn't get a overbid on their.
I don't know if I'm frozen.
Well, all things being equal, as we always say.
One of us is frozen.
All things being equal. But I think the craziness, I think the crazy cartoonish aspects are going to go away, but it'll remain a strong seller's market. And I still believe that there's an enormous amount of pent-up demand for buyers out there.
Hold on one second. Is he still choppy, Tim, or is it back?
Phil chopped. That's scary. So
I think you're back, but we lost you for a little bit. So
it said
to recap, yes, we think it's going to remain.
Can you hear me?
I just don't know when you said it. You could have said that 40 seconds ago. I could hear you, but I don't know how long ago you said it. Must have been a while ago because you still haven't answered. You're choppy. But the bottom line is that we absolutely believe it's going to remain a seller's market throughout throughout the rest of 2020. We do not believe sellers have been greedy. You have done exactly what anybody would do in your position and take a very yes, exactly. Everything passes, but you're basically taking, an investment that you made. Everybody buys a house with the hopes that when they go to sell, it's the top of the market. So why on earth are we calling people greedy for taking advantage of the top of the market? That is the ultimate end game. Although it's not why you buy a house. Typically why you buy a house is for personal reasons. It's always great that if you get the opportunity to sell at the top of the market. So, and thank God, so many people were willing to sell at the top of the market, because could you imagine if they weren't? We're upset that not enough sellers were on the market, but yet we're also calling them greedy. Well, let's knock it off. You can't have it both ways. So, sellers, you need to get with your listing agents and get your prices adjusted. If you haven't had showings and you haven't had offers, in 2 to 3 weeks of your house being on the property, it's probably time to talk about a price adjustment with your agent. And agents, you want to start getting ready to have these conversations with your sellers. What are you doing, Mr. Ferranda?
I wanted to get closer to my router, so I hope you can hear me now.
Much better.
I just want to say everything you just said was copied from me, and I'm greatly offended.
You're assuming because I couldn't hear you. So I'm doing an assumed close based on what I think you would have said. And yes. I think I know you well enough at this point. And I've only been on like 5 meetings with you today.
Yeah, it's been it's been a very Phil and Jen day.
Oh, and I'm tired.
I'm sorry if I bore you.
No. But I'm looking forward to the shift in the market personally. This is not my favorite kind of market.
No, this is no fun. This is
I
no
have
fun.
fielded calls from hysterical agents, hysterical buyers, lunatic sellers, and I told you about the guy with the, they didn't flush my toilet, and I'm like, do you want me to come over and flush your toilet? Because I'm like happy to do that. I don't know what else I can do.
Yeah. Look, 10 years ago, 13 years ago, we were grief counselors for sellers. And now we're grief counselors for buyers who, are losing their fourth and fifth offers. And, I don't like being a grief counselor. I like celebrating the joy of, having, your home sale or purchase be a successful one. So
absolutely. But I also don't begrudge a seller for selling at the top.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And that being said, there's also this reputation that realtors drive the price up. A $20,000 price difference in commission is pennies after the commission split with the broker and this and that. Nowhere near enough for anybody in their right mind to steer an offer to go one way or another. And the same for working both sides of a deal. If you got a buyer, what do you care what they buy? They don't have to buy your listing. They're going to buy something. So the fact that people spread these kind of rumors, it's really not the case. Not for the majority of brokers and the majority of sellers. They're people like us who have earned their money.
Yeah, we don't have that power. I do not believe that someone's primary residence should be treated like an investment. I think it behaves like an investment, but I don't treat it like an investment. And if it acts like an investment, a good investment, then I'm happy for them. But what you're getting when you buy property is not simply a financial instrument. It is shelter. You would have paid rent anyway. You cannot live in your 401k. It is very drafty. So
it's more than shelter. It's the place where you're going to measure your kids' growth against the wall. It's the place where you're going to have the memory of when your daughter came down the stairs for the prom, or you're not married, don't have kids, then that puppy that you brought home that you guys absolutely love, or whatever. It is home. It is home. Exactly. Yeah. Which is home is not an investment.
Yep. 100%. So change is coming. I think the change this time will be closer to the middle with sanity. And I think we should all celebrate that. And I think the end of, I think artificial manipulation by the government with moratoriums and, all of that stuff will bring things back to, kind of a sanity. And we're not going to have to, talk people off the ledge about their purchase or their sale. And I think it'll start to be a little bit more fun again, not just for us, but for the consumers.
Well, just even that, the perception that's out there that honestly realtors are a little guilty of giving is like we're making money hand over fist. I know some real top producing agents. Everybody who normally wouldn't work with buyers maybe have worked with buyers this year. I know agents that have put in like 27 offers and still don't have a deal.
Yeah.
So, do you know how much time, energy, effort, money
brutal
that is taken away from that buyer's agent's family?
Yeah.
The ability to build or work on any other business, and also the fact that it's really hard to build good relationships now because you got buyers unhappy, you got sellers that still think that maybe I could have gotten more, or maybe I should have done this, or maybe so really a difficult market.
Yep.
We all agree we're good.
It's brutal. All right, so I feel like I've given you all of my thoughts on this. What is?
Should I repeat all your thoughts again?
By the way, do you like how my house is the brand color?
I do, but I like how much I can see you haven't shaved now that you're outside.
Yeah, I have, still COVID. I want to write a book, How to Build a Brand in Flip-Flops.
I think Jimmy Buffett did that already.
I think he did a better job. We'll never be able to do what Jimmy Buffett did. But I'll
have a cheeseburger in paradise next week and think of you.
Yeah, you should do that. Okay, so we're good?
We're good. Have a great day.
Take it away, Timothy. Good to see you, Jen. It's been too long.
Oh, yeah. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Toodaloo.